Hello everyone, I am Lina and this is our 10th lesson of the Greek language. I know it's been a while since our last lesson, but now I'm back and I decided, as you can see, to change a bit the form of the lessons and make them a little more direct to you. So from now on you will hear my voice more often and I know you want to. So, welcome, καλώς ήρθατε. So, let's begin. As you may already know, in Greek there are three genders. The masculine, arseniko. Arseniko. This word may remind you of arsenic, the poison. Yes, in Greek, arseniko means both masculine and arsenic. So, we have the feminine, το θηλυκό, and the neuter, το ουδέτερο. The neuter. It may sound a little strange to you because it is not very common in other languages, but in Greek it is very common and we don't use it only for objects, things, animals, etc., but we also use it for people. So, for example, το παιδί, which means the child, is neuter. So, keep that in mind. So, what we've got here? Here we have the definite article. Not the whole thing, because in Greek, if you want to know the whole definite article, you need to know 18 different words. Yes, 18. That's because in Greek, we decline the articles, and of course the nouns, the adjectives, and the pronouns, depending on their function into the sentence. We will talk about it in later lessons. For now, just keep in mind that there are 4 different cases: nominative, genitive, accusative, and vocative. The article does not have a vocative, but it has the other 3 cases, a plural and 3 genders. Now, just forget all that and keep in mind that the forms o, I, to, I, ta are the nominatives of the article. So here we can see το αρσενικό, the masculine, and the different endings that masculine noun may have, καταλήξεις, endings. So, as we can see, there are 6 different endings that a masculine noun may have. The first one is os or os. The second one, as you can see, has an accent, so it means that this noun has an accent on the last syllable. So, ο άνθρωπος, which means the human, ο γιατρός, which means the doctor. So, as we can see, ο άνθρωπος has an accent on the first syllable, but ο γιατρός has an accent on the last syllable. Same thing, ο άντρας, the man, and ο σαματάς, the fuss. Same thing is ο παίχτης, which means the player, and ο ποιητής, which means the poet. And we have ο καφές, and of course many other nouns that end in s. Ο καφές means the coffee. We have also eas, ending in eas. Example, ο κουρέας, which means the barber. And finally, we have the masculine nouns in ous. For example, ο παππούς, which means the grandfather. Well, here we have the feminine nouns and their different endings. As you can see, there are 4 different endings for the feminine nouns in Greek. The first one is a or a with an accent. For example, η χώρα, which means the country, and η μαμά, which means of course mom. The second ending is η or η with an accent. For example, η πόλη, which means the city or the town, and η σιωπή, which means the silence. Then we have the ending os or os with an accent. For example, η άμμος, which means the sand, and it's feminine, and η οδός, which means the road or the street, but keep in mind that we use the word οδός for addresses. For the other uses of road or street, we have different words. Also, what's here, that this ending os or os with an accent is also used for the masculine nouns. When you see a noun that ends in os or os with an accent in Greek, it's probably masculine. There are much more masculine nouns in os than feminine, so keep that in mind. And finally we have the nouns, the feminine nouns that end in u, and for example we have the word η αλεπού, which means the fox. And last but not least, we have the neuter nouns, and there are different endings. First, we have e or e with an accent. For example, το μάτι, which means the eye, το παιδί, which means the child. Then we have o or o with an accent. For example, το μήλο, which means the apple, το όχυρο, which means the fortress. Then we have, for one more time, os, but not os with an accent. I don't think there are any neuter nouns in Greek that end in os with an accent. So, an example here is το δάσος, which means the forest. We have the neuter nouns that end in ma. For example, το όνομα, which means the name, very useful word. The neuter nouns that end in mo, for example, το γράψιμο, which means the writing. And we have the neuter nouns that end in sigma, of course it's pronounced s, το κρέας, which means the meat, και το φως, which means the light. Of course there are many different neuter nouns that end in sigma, but here we have only two. And we have the neuter nouns that end in ni. For example, το περιβάλλον, which means the environment, and το μηδέν, which means the zero. So finally I managed to upload, after all these years, my 10th Greek video lesson on YouTube for all of you. I would like to thank you all for watching my videos, for commenting, for asking me questions, for wanting to learn Greek, and I promise that from now on I will make more videos and I will try to answer to more of your questions. So thank you again and see you soon.